You know when you're driving along and you hit a big bump, or you see this web of cracks spreading across the asphalt? Ever wonder what's really going on there? Well, it turns out that's not just random wear and tear. It's a message. The road is actually trying to tell you a story about its health, its history, and what's happening deep down below. So, let's learn how to read the roads.
See, every single crack, every rut, every pothole, it's not random. It's a clue. It's a specific kind of language, and today, we're going to learn how to speak it. By the end of this, you won't just see a damaged road. You'll see a story unfolding right under your wheels.
Think of this whole thing like a doctor's visit, but for our roads. First, we're going to learn how to identify the symptoms, all the different types of cracks and damage. Then, we'll see how engineers make a diagnosis using a special scoring system. And finally, we'll check out the super high-tech tools they use for a modern checkup.
All right, let's jump into our field guide. We're going to start by looking at the most common symptoms you'll find on that flexible, blacktop asphalt. You know, the roads most of us drive on every day. Then we'll see what's up with their more rigid concrete cousins.
First up is one of the most recognizable patterns you'll ever see on an asphalt road: fatigue cracking. And what's so important about this one is the story it tells about the road's very foundation. Engineers have a fantastic nickname for this: alligator cracking. And you can totally see why. It looks just like the scales on an alligator's back. Now, this pattern is a huge red flag. It's not just some cosmetic problem on the top layer. It's screaming that the road's underlying structure is failing, usually from the constant stress of heavy traffic. And this is the kind of problem that gets bad fast. It might start out as just a few tiny hairline cracks, but if you ignore it, it gets worse and worse until you have chunks of asphalt that are so loose they actually get kicked up by cars. It's a clear signal of a road in pretty serious distress. Okay, let's move on to our next symptom. And I guarantee you felt this one. It's called rutting. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's those grooves that form right where everyone's tires go. These ruts aren't just annoying. They're a real safety hazard. As they get deeper, they start collecting water when it rains, and that can easily lead to hydroplaning. So when you see deep ruts, the road is basically putting up a warning sign to be extra careful in wet weather.
Now, let's switch gears from asphalt to concrete. Concrete can fail in some very different and, honestly, much more dramatic ways. The first symptom is called a blow-up, and yeah, it is every bit as intense as it sounds.
So here's the deal. Concrete expands when it gets hot. Engineers build in these joints, you know those lines you see cutting across concrete highways, to give the slab some room to breathe. But sometimes, dirt and debris get stuck in those joints, or it just gets so incredibly hot that the pressure is too much. The concrete slab has nowhere to go but up, and that creates this sudden, really dangerous ramp right in the middle of the road.
Okay, so we can spot the individual symptoms. We see the alligator cracks, the ruts, the blow-ups, but how do engineers take all of that information and turn it into a single, useful diagnosis? How do they decide which road gets fixed first?
They use something called the Pavement Condition Index, or PCI. Basically, it's a health score for a road on a simple scale from 0 to 100. 100 is a perfect, brand new road. This score is absolutely crucial because it turns all those observations into hard data. It lets cities figure out where to spend our tax money and send repair crews where they're needed most.
So how do they actually calculate this score? Well, in a nutshell, inspectors look at a section of road and identify every single problem. Each issue, from a tiny crack to a huge rut, gets deduct points based on how bad it is. After a few adjustments, they just subtract that total from a perfect score of 100. And boom, you get the final PCI score. So, for example, a road might get a 42.5. That number immediately tells an engineer, hey, this road is in poor condition, and it probably needs some serious work, soon. It just cuts through all the noise and gives them a clear, actionable number. Now, you might be picturing inspectors walking for miles to staring at the ground with a clipboard, and that's kind of the old way. Today, the road doctor has gone seriously high-tech, and the whole checkup process is getting automated. So instead of just relying on the human eye, modern inspections use this whole array of amazing technologies. We're talking high-resolution digital cameras, laser scanners that can measure ruts with incredible precision, and even acoustic and infrared sensors to find problems we can't even see. And here's the best part. All this data is collected by these specialized vans that are just driving down the road at normal highway speeds. These things are packed with equipment, capturing a complete digital picture of the road without ever having to shut down a lane of traffic. It's so much faster, it's safer, and it gives them way more data to work with. But once you have this absolute mountain of data, what do you do with it? Well, for a while, the process was semi-automated, meaning a trained technician would still sit down and review all the images. But the real game changer is full automation, where powerful AI can analyze all that data and spot every single crack and rut all by itself, instantly.
So there you have it. We've learned how to spot the symptoms, how to understand the diagnosis, and we've seen the high-tech tools they use to do it. The road isn't just a boring strip of pavement anymore. It's a living system, constantly communicating its condition. The only question left is, the next time you're out for a drive, what story is the pavement going to be telling you?